Hello, and welcome to our newest segment, the Town Administrator's Update. We here at BNEWS have invited Town Administrator Paul Sagarino into the studio. We're going to do this on a monthly basis, where he's going to be able to give us an update on some of the things going on in town. We'll ask a few questions about issues either in town or events coming up or things that his office is working on. So it's just going to be a way for him to be able to talk to us and therefore to you, just to kind of keep you updated about what we're doing and what's happening in Burlington. So Paul, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rich.
Appreciate you coming in. So like I said, as we were sort of setting this up is, first off, we'd like to kind of just give you an opportunity if you have something that you just wanted to share with the Burlington residents, just to give you the floor and let you do it.
Well, it's been a whirlwind couple of months since I took over March 1st, and primarily spent preparing for the upcoming town meeting. So, love the residents to be aware that we have town meeting coming up on May 13th. That's a great opportunity to tune in and find out what's going on around town in terms of projects and budgets and initiatives. But the big thing I wanted to highlight for today was, and I know that you guys have covered this story, but due to the efforts of State Rep Gordon, he was able to get the state to allow us to dedicate the bridge to Lance Corporal Greg McDonald for his ultimate sacrifice in Iraq after 9/11. And kudos to Rep Gordon and anyone who was involved in that. I think that is just wonderful. I believe they have a ceremony planned for the day before Memorial Day, and I think that is just going to be a wonderful event and a wonderful tribute to this young man who really gave his life to defend us. And I'm really looking forward to that ceremony and the great tribute that this will be to the McDonald family.
And it's going to be at 1 p.m. on the town common, if that's correct.
I believe so, yes.
Yes, and I mean, not only did he pass, defending our nation, but he was actually en route to try to help fellow Marines who had been ambushed in Iraq. And
as always, our soldiers, the bravery that they show on a daily basis is unbelievable to me, and I'm thankful for their service and for people like Greg that were willing to sacrifice their lives for us. And I can't say enough about the memorial and the tribute. And again, kudos to State Rep Ken Gordon for initiating that. It's just a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a well-tended ceremony.
I hope so.
So now for phase 2, a couple of questions. You mentioned, everyone's busy working on upcoming town meeting, which does start Monday, May 13th. You were going through the warrant at the last Board of Selectmen's meeting, some of the capital projects. I wanted to talk about a couple of those. What are some of the big, or bigger expenditures, and what are they? Why are they necessary?
Well, the biggest one is obviously the budget. That's what keeps the town going on a daily basis. A lot of work has been put into the budget, both by town employees, department heads, and of course, not enough can be stated about the efforts of the Ways and Means Committee. They meet with us on a subcommittee level, a full committee level. These folks are volunteers, and they put in hundreds and hundreds of hours to vet the budget so that the residents can feel comfortable that it's appropriate for what we're trying to accomplish as a community. And I would like to say that they're the real heroes of the budget process. It gets contentious sometimes, but these guys really put in a lot of effort to help us hone the budget and get to a budget that we can all agree is something that's satisfactory to the majority of the residents. So we're really looking forward to that. So that's the budget process. We do have a couple of initiatives. We have phase 2 of the Public Works project.
Right.
Phase 1 was passed last May. It's a 2-phase project to replace the Public Works facility as well as the rec maintenance facility that we have up at Overlook. Phase 1 last year was approved for the Clark and Reed site, which the town purchased a few years ago. That will ultimately house the rec maintenance department as well as the Public Works central maintenance department, which maintains all the town vehicles. And Once that is complete, we'll move on to phase 2, which is the original DPW highway site further down Great Meadow Road.
Right.
And I will say that, that this project is long overdue. Both Overlook, where our rec maintenance employees have been working out of, and the DPW highway barn are really long past replacement life. So
Yes.
I'm really happy that we'll be able to provide a state-of-the-art facility for both the residents. A big component of it is just even having inside storage. We have a lot of expensive equipment that we don't have garaged because we are limited on space. So it's also a way to protect the residents' investment into, we have $200,000 pieces of trucks and
Exactly.
Vectors and front-end loaders that, we'll be able to keep them out of the weather and hopefully maintain them and preserve them for a much longer time.
Yeah, I mean, and the run-up to that town meeting last year when it was voted, the prior occupant of your seat, John Petron, we did a long look at them and toured them, and people can find that on our website. They are in bad shape. I mean, there's holes in the ceilings.
They really are. I mean, we got our money's worth out of both of those facilities,
Sure.
And we should be proud of that. We try to do things very conservatively, and it's time to finish off and replace those. So we have the funding for phase 1. We'll be asking for the funding for phase 2, which is the highway barn portion of the project. Well, hopefully town meeting members will remember that last year we asked you, please do not approve phase 1 if you are not interested in doing phase 2, because probably the worst thing that could happen to us is just have a
Right.
half of a phase project. That doesn't really help us very much. So hopeful that they'll remember that pledge that we made last year. Another warrant article that is really important to me is to create the position of Economic Development Director.
Yes.
This is not an original idea to me. It's something that's been talked about in town for a long time. It was identified in the master plan as something that's very important to the future of Burlington. Our neighbors are very aggressively pursuing businesses, and we simply can't just sit by and for many years we were able to get by on our location, and Burlington's always been a great place for businesses to locate, but the competition now is fierce for businesses. People telecommute, there's a lot of different options. Businesses are looking for speed in the decision-making process. Time is money, so quite frankly, we need to sort of develop programs to retain our tremendous businesses that we have in town, and also continue to be on the cutting edge of attracting new businesses to town that we desire to have in town to make our community viable. A healthy business community, to me, translates into great services that we're able to provide for the residents.
Keeps the taxes down.
The businesses pick up 2/3 of the taxes. I know we always have concerns about traffic, but I think if someone were to look from town to town, the impact of businesses on our quality of life here in Burlington is off the charts in the ways that they contribute to our community. And again, businesses have changed. We've got by for many, many years by just being Burlington and just being located in a great location. But times have changed, and it's more competitive. Other communities are actively trying to take our businesses from us.
Sure.
And we're hopeful that town meeting will approve that position and help us sort of maintain our competitive edge when we're trying to attract businesses to the community.
So that position will, one, work on attracting, certain types of businesses or helping businesses, but also, if I understand correctly, help interested businesses sort of navigate the system of going through the different boards and committees that need to get different approvals, which can be a lengthy process.
Without a doubt. We're looking for somebody, a face of the community. If a business wants to come to town, they'll act as the quarterback for the town and sort of coordinate all our departments. Because we're a town in Massachusetts, we have a little bit of a cumbersome process for somebody that wants to relocate here and may need a zoning change and a sign. It's a bunch of different boards involved, different elected officials. And what we hope to provide is a face to the town, if somebody wants to come here, that will help them determine quickly is the key whether or not that they may be a good fit for Burlington, and to sort of navigate some of the landmines that may be out there in advance, And I think even giving a company a quick no, like we looked into it, that's not going to work here,
Right.
I think will be very good for our reputation in the community, rather than have somebody go through a 6-month process and get to the end of the road and find out that it's something that the community is not interested in. So,
No, that's a good point. A couple other of the capital budget projects or proposals. New ambulance.
New ambulance.
Where are we as far as the need for that?
We try to replace our ambulances every 5 years. So this is 6 years. The chief wishes it's 5 years, and typically they're big ticket items. So we end up, due to financial constraints, sometimes having to delay it. But the town basically has 3 ambulances. We have a frontline ambulance, which is about 5 years old. The second line backup ambulance is 10 years old, and then we have a reserve ambulance that we put into service when one of the other ambulances is being repaired or serviced or something of that nature. So we like to keep them on a schedule where we're replacing one every 5 years. Our current frontline ambulance will move to the backup ambulance once we get this. And there's a long process. You just don't go down to a dealership to buy an ambulance.
No.
They actually have to build them for us. So town meeting approved a fire engine last year, and it's just about being constructed now. So it's a long process to once we get the approval for the funding to when we actually have the vehicle in town.
Right. And I think as somebody brought up at the selectmen's meeting last week or earlier this week, ambulances are one of those things that when you need it, you really want it to work. So it's good to
Absolutely.
keep things updated. And last capital project is the library roof, which is do you remember the amount for that one?
$220,000.
Okay.
It's a rubber roof. It's original to the building renovation or construction in 1995. So it's reached its useful life. It has been leaking, and the Public Works Department, since they took over facilities, has really done a great job of inventorying our buildings, developing a maintenance list, and finally starting to tackle some of these items so that we can sort of get ahead of maintaining the town buildings. So I know that this library roof repair is well overdue. So
Yeah.
we're thankful that we're finally able to get to it in the long list of things that we need to get done.
And so, you talked about the budget process and, ways and means, but last thing about the budget is there's always goals set up at the beginning as far as like keeping it within a certain amount. What were the goals for this year, and how are the department heads, doing as far as making proposals that fit within them?
The department heads work really hard to try to fit within the spending guidelines that the town decides on at the beginning of the year. This year there was an attempt that we wish to limit the tax levy increase to 4.5%. We've met that guideline as of right now. We have one issue outstanding, which I think is a school bus contract that still needs to be decided. But up until this point, we're able to meet that budget guideline. On the spending side, I believe we're at a 3.5% blended operating budget between the town and the schools.
Okay.
So so far, we've met that guideline as well. But again, we do have a big item outstanding that we're still waiting to get final confirmation on, is the school bus contract for the upcoming year.
Okay. And last thing I want to talk about is just something that's been a big issue in the last few years is water. First of all, I know that there is still a full watering ban due to an emergency that happened over the winter. Talk about when might that be lifted? Where's that?
I know this is a very hot topic for the residents, but we really are in really dire straits on our water. On any given week, all it would take is a minor emergency, and it happens all the time. And I'll give you an example. Just within the last week, somebody knocked down a telephone pole in Bedford. It spilled petroleum from a transformer into the Shawsheen River. The Shawsheen River is the feeding source for our Mill Pond water treatment plant. So if officials were unable to contain that spill, and we were unable to access the water from the Shawsheen River, we would have been in serious trouble in terms of providing basic water service to the residents. So we're constantly on the edge until we're able to implement the plan to the MWRA. So unfortunately, the state rules require when we have an emergency where we need to take water from the MWRA through Lexington, it's indisputable. It's a full water ban.
Right.
So we've initiated the full water ban now. What we're trying to do is do all the plant maintenance we can to keep the plant at the mill pond, get it ready for the busy summer season. We're hopeful that once the water emergency is lifted, we'll be able to go back during hopefully the prime watering season to an odd even type scenario for the residents to water their lawns. But again, it really is hit or miss. On any given week, we could face a water main break or an emergency, which would cause us to have to grab that emergency water. And once that happens, we're back to a full ban, and we don't have an option on that.
Right.
So that's sort of what's going on with the water. And we do appreciate the residents' patience. People take great care of their homes and their lawns here, and we certainly appreciate that. But what we're talking about here is losing the water supply for the town if something happens.
Right.
And that means not having water to bathe, cook, very, very dangerous situation. So,
Right.
I don't want to lessen the residents' concern about their lawns, but hopefully we'll get past this in a year or two and won't have to deal with it ever again. But it really is a challenge for us to maintain the water system.
Understood. And so when that connection to the MWRA in the years ahead, obviously this will be a different situation, but for right now, we're going to work with the plants and that we have and deal with the issues as they arise and so patience. And I don't know, we've gotten a lot of rain, so hopefully that's helping people's lawns right now. All right, very good. Well, I think that can conclude our first town administrator update. Appreciate you coming in and
thank you
talking
for
to
having
us and the people of Burlington who watch.
I look forward to coming back.
All
Thanks
right.
a lot, Rich.
Thank you.